And joining me now live to discuss my open to more, South Carolina Senator and Chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Lindsey Graham. Senator, thanks for being on Justice. You know, I wish I had more time. I could talk to you about what a great week has been for the president. But coming out of that open, what's left for Mitt Romney?
Well, number one, I'm not going to say anything bad about Mitt Romney. I've known him for a long time. I think he made a very bad judgment call. I'm not going to question his faith. But let's see if you and I can figure this out in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Who was behind it? Schiff, Nadler, Pelosi. Not Mueller, not Watergate prosecutors, not Ken Starr, the three most partisan people in the country who hate Trump's guts. How did they do it? They impeached the man in 78 days. He couldn't call a witness. He couldn't cross-examine anybody. He couldn't present evidence, and most of it was hearsay. And what was it all about? He suspended, President Trump, aid to the Ukraine for a short period of time to leverage an investigation that never occurred. They got the money. There was no investigation. God's common sense should allow all of us to understand this was partisan BS, a process used that would destroy the presidency if it's legitimized. This was a bad decision for anybody to vote guilty on these facts.
So now that they've done this, clearly, I mean, they've been obsessed with this man for 3.5 years. Or just over 3 years. Now, what do they do now? Do they call Bolton? Do they keep going, or do they just move on?
No, I don't think they can move on because they got nothing to move on to. If you're going to compare what President Trump has done and will do for the country versus their ideas, I don't blame them for not wanting to be talking about giving illegal immigrants free health care, taking away your health care that you have at work through Medicare for all, continuing to support sanctuary cities. They don't want to talk about that. They're trying to destroy this man, but they don't have an agenda to compete with him, so they make it personal. How this man does it, President Trump, I'll never know. He's been through hell. They've taken a wrecking ball to his family. He's still standing. He's one of the toughest people I've ever met in my entire life. Nobody I know could have went through this, and they were going to impeach him for suspending aid that the Ukraine eventually got ahead of schedule to leverage an investigation that never occurred. Well, this was insane.
The facts are absurd. But let's talk about now. Let's switch it to you guys. Now, you know, now we know that can we expect that you, as Chairman of Judiciary, or Burr, Chairman of Intelligence, may want to look at the whistleblower, or we want to look at the Bidens? I know Treasury has subpoenaed Hunter Biden's financial records, but James Risch apparently doesn't have an appetite. He says, of course, he is the chair of Foreign Relations, and he says, I've got other things I'm doing now, and I haven't given it any thought. Haven't given it any thought? America's been talking about this for 3 months.
So we're not going to live in a world where, as a Republican, you get investigated from the day you get sworn in. 3 years later, they're still coming after you. Here's what amazes me. The Russian investigation, what happened? Half the people behind the Russian investigation are going to go to jail, and Trump was cleared.
Hopefully.
Well, just hang tight. They come after Trump on Ukraine, and Biden blows up. So every time they throw a rock at Trump, they get hit. So here's what we should look at. Why did the State Department not act when they were told about the conflict of interest with Hunter Biden regarding the Ukraine, right? Who is the whistleblower? Does he have contacts on Schiff's staff? Did Colonel Vindeman leak information to the whistleblower? And as to the FISA warrant, how could you sign the warrant 4 times and not know the whole thing was off the rails? That's where I come in.
Okay, so you're going to do something, because even the head of the FISA court said it was wrong. It was not predicated on probable cause. You know the whole thing. So you're going to do something. You want to tell us what you're going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to give a list of witnesses to the Department of Justice that I want to call. It's going to be the case agent. I want to find out how this thing got so screwed up. Why didn't they tell about the Russian source who said, you know, the dossier is not reliable. How could it be possible that it never goes up to the top? I don't believe. I want to know what Obama knew about this investigation. I want to call Rosenstein, Sally Yates, Comey and McCabe and all the people who worked on this case to find out how it got so off the rails and make sure it never happens again. And I want to know who in the White House knew about this counterintelligence investigation against the Republican nominee.
Well, you and I both know that the lovers were saying, you know, the White House wants to be informed of what we're doing. Yeah. I mean, if you just do a timeline and intersperse the love notes, it'll explain it all. But there's more I want to talk about. And, you know, it takes a team effort. You're a powerful man, obviously. But, you know, we need those other committees. We need a full court press. And you know what? It's based on fact and not on what the Democrats did when they created the Russia collusion delusion and the Ukraine nothing burger. Let's talk about Manchin. You surprised?
Yeah, very surprised. You know, again, I'm not going to question his motives. I question his judgment. I can't believe that anybody couldn't see through this. Pelosi, Schiff, and Nadler are the most partisan people in the country. Mueller found nothing after 2 years and $32 million. They literally impeached the president in 78 days using a process you couldn't issue a parking ticket for. And at the end of the day, the Ukraine got the money ahead of schedule, and there was no investigation of Joe Biden. If you can't see through all that, then you've been blinded by Washington. Common sense has left this town. The reason I'm so upset about this impeachment, it puts every president after President Trump at risk. You can't even pick the phone up anymore as President of the United States under this standard.
Right. But last question. Now, we just found out that multiple American casualties in Afghanistan. Why are we still there?
So they don't come here. If you can end the war, count me in, but it takes two to end the war. The radical Islam is never going to stop trying to come here.
Senator, 18 years. Aren't they living in huts there? How are we going to win this?
By helping people over there fight so they don't fight here. I hate it when our soldiers get hurt and die, but they're over there making sure they never have another 9/11 here. And after 18 years, radical Islam is still there, but they're a lot smaller than they were. We're down to less than 10,000 troops because of President Trump. The Afghans are doing most of the fighting, most of the dying, and we're paying less. But I'm not going to come on this program and tell you that we're safe if we leave Afghanistan. We need to stay until it's safe to leave. This war is not over yet, but I want to congratulate President Trump for making other people do more so we do less. And to those who died and their families, you're protecting me and my family, and I will be forever grateful.
God bless. All right. Thank you very much, Senator Graham, for being with us on Justice.